thank you so much for joining us, and it's great to have you. So we like to know you by name, what you do, and where you work.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity, and I don't take it for granted personally. My name is Dr. Okomoda Victor Tosin, and I'm a scientist, an advocate of food security, best practices as regards to um, climate smart aquaculture, and everything that's pertains to fish and fisheries and aquaculture generally. You can call me. So by extension, I work currently with the Worldfish Nigeria, and we are currently at the IIT Africa Rice Building. So if you come to Ibadan and you find yourself in IIT, please do not hesitate to visit the Worldfish Center and ask for Dr. Okomoda Victor. You see me there.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, so the second question I have here, personally, I understand that your original dream was to study medicine. So can you tell us about that journey and how long you pursued it? What made you eventually decided to give fisheries and aquaculture a serious chance?
Oh, thank you very much. I am laughing now, but I think some several years down memory lane, it wasn't something to laugh about. So, like you rightly said, yes, I just like every other young, you know, young person in my generation. I'm sorry to use the word my generation. I'm not very old, so um, as at that time, if you're not studying medicine, if you're not as a science student, if you're not studying medicine, if you're not studying engineering, um, you're not studying anything. It looks like you can't make it in life, you know, as at that time. So the dream of most people, that my mates, myself, was to just get MBBS. So for 6 years, I was writing jam, looking for medicine and surgery. As at then, somehow I I used to fall a little bit short of the cutoff. So, for instance, if Union Loring at that time decided that the cutoff mark for medicine was, let's say, 250, I just would probably see myself getting maybe 245 or 240 thereabouts. And then, it progressed like that for like 2 years. I decided to go for what we call IJMB, uh, interim joint matriculation board, or so I think, yeah, interim joint matriculation board, IJMB, which permits you to, once you finish, you can go into 200 level. So I wanted to use that as a shortcut, not to write jump. And one beautiful thing about IJMB is the fact that you can use the results over and over again. It's not a one-time event like jump. I don't know if that has changed now, but in my days, once you write jam and jam you, as you used to say those days, if jam you and you are unable to get admission, it means the monies you have spent that time has gone to waste, and then you have to pay another money, pay for another, jam registration, sit for another rounds of examination, and then you're only allowed to choose one university at a time as first choice, and then maybe second choice. So and most times, if the first choice does not give you, there's really no hope for the second choice. So I kept on doing that. But what IGMB did for me was that it allowed me to be able to use the same result over and over again, meaning that even if I didn't get admission that year, I could use it to apply for another year. Not just that, it's also availed me the opportunity of being able to choose multiple universities as first choice. Because since it's not an exam written directly, and then where you select one particular university, you get what is called direct entry form. So that direct entry form allows you can get, as if you have the fund. In my case, because of my desperation, sometimes I buy 2-3 direct entry forms in a year. So it allowed me to choose 2-3 universities. I applied to University of Jos, I can remember, applied to University of Ilorin, applied to University of Maiduguri, medicine and surgery using direct entry. On top of that, I also will do JAM for that same year. So all this effort put together, and then, it didn't just work out. I don't know what happened. Somehow, the closest I got to medicine was the admission I was later offered in University of Maiduguri, human anatomy. So there was also an advice that go there. When you go there, you can convert to medicine later. All those stuffs. And then I took my bag and decided, okay, it's not good to just stay at home and not do anything. So I took my bag. I went to University of Maiduguri, traveled all the way from Lokoja then. And then when I got to Maiduguri, I don't know what happened. I can't really tell, but I want to believe that it's divine orchestration by God to frustrate all my efforts just to come back to fisheries. And sorry for taking your time. I'm trying as much as possible to clear a narrative down my journey to fisheries. So when I got to the University of Maiduguri, one way or the other, I was told that because I came a bit late, I was pursuing another admission in the JOS before I took that decision to go to Maiduguri. And then when I went to Maiduguri, they said because I came late, it looks like they have substituted my name for another person. I don't know how that happened. And despite the fact having admission letter, I was unable to register. So I had to move from Jos with hopes that, well, maybe God doesn't want me to waste my money. Move down to Jos, where I'd already, in those days, there are some agents you can use for admission, some people feel that they can help you sneak your name into maybe last list or something, VC's list and all that. So I remember paying some money. My mom helped me then. Because I felt I had what it takes. Of course, at this time, it's not like I'm being lobbied to the medicine. I met the cutoff, but because the quota system and because many persons were choking for that, for the quota for that year and for the university, it becomes a game of who you really know, and then or who could pay the price. And thankful for my parents who are late. They were so supportive then. They did everything they can, but still everything didn't work. So just to cut the long story short, 6 years I was battling and it didn't work. Then I remember my late brother. Then he also studied fisheries and aquaculture in University of Agriculture, Makurdi. So he called me and he gave me one of the best advice of my life. I say that because I have no regret studying fisheries and aquaculture. He called me and then he said, Victor, if you were to study medicine and excel as a medical student and graduate as a medical doctor, then it means apparently you are either a very brilliant student or you're an average student who is ready to work very hard. Because of course in medicine 50% seems to be their pass mark. You can't have anything for something and you pass any course. So he said, if I can channel this same effort that I'm supposed to go and dissipate into medicine, if I can channel the same effort to, let's say, any other course, and he gave you an example, fisheries, for instance, the course he studied, that if I can channel that same effort, I could easily come out with the first class. And then if I come out with the first class, he's very sure that the sky is my limit, that there are opportunities for me, a lot of things he told me then. And I told him, a lot of things have happened. If I wanted to go for fisheries, why will it be now? There's a prophecy over me, stuff like that. I remember when I was very small. It's a funny story. Some years back, a prophet told my mom that this boy is a doctor. And then fast forward down to this day, I think the prophecy was an incomplete prophecy. They could have told them that the boy is a doctor of fish, not doctor of humans. And probably my journey would have been smoother. So it was not a decision I came by smoothly. It was born out of frustration. It was born out of passion. It was born out of, I had somebody who gave me one of the best advice of my life. And after that conversation with my brother, I took money and I bought direct entry form and chose fisheries first and second choice. It wasn't a second choice for me. It wasn't, I meant to go there and just do all I can to excel. So that's how I came into fisheries. And that's the story of me dabbling into the world of aquaculture now.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one, and that's brilliant. In fact, I have a couple of questions here, but which I think you have answered. Like, how do you feel now, looking back to the decision you made? And I am happy to hear, when you were speaking, that it's one of the best decisions of your life. And that's so fantastic. So let me just move on to the next one.
No,
So,
I probably,
yeah.
if you give me opportunity, I would say really, because and this is not to throw shades at those who are medical doctors. They do fantastic job. Every job is very important. But if what I know now, if I had known that as at the time I was looking for medicine and surgery, well, God knows the best, but I think I believe that I would have arrived at a more glorifying future, more glorifying. My journey would have been smoother, it would have been easier, it would have been faster than this. So there's no regrets whatsoever choosing fisheries and aquaculture as a course. Yeah.
All right. That's a great one. And so I would like to know, and I believe my audience as well, maybe you ever feel discouraged studying a course you didn't originally plan for, and how did you stay motivated?
Okay, I think my own case was a bit different. If you follow my story, yes, at first we may say that I didn't plan for fisheries because, like I said, I was looking for medicine and surgery. But then, if you look at it again, as at the time I had that discussion with my late brother, I had a change of mind. So I wouldn't say fisheries was not a course that I didn't plan for. In fact, one of the reasons I want to say I recorded successes in this part, maybe for these are, if how do I put it now? These are very few opportunities where one have opportunity to blow his trumpet or even say some things or remember, way back then. I was opportune. I think I graduated. Not I think I graduated with first class with a CGPA of 4.85 on a 5-point base. And not just that, I graduated as the best graduating student in the department. I graduated as the best graduating student in the college, and I also graduated as the best graduating student in the whole of the university. Set 2011 to 2012, Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi. So it was a deliberate decision. This was because I knew I was coming for war. I had a background that there was no first class in that department since the inception of the department, since graduating students for years. So I came with a mandate that I wanted to break a record. 1, 2. I also came with a mandate, or with that conviction, with that realization, that having spent 6 years looking for medicine and surgery, the people that are currently in the same class or with the same level with me, if they had gotten admission immediately after graduation, it means that they were somehow in GS2 or GS1, as the case may be, while I was finishing secondary school. So I had that consciousness that Victor, you are in the class with your juniors. And if I was in the class with my juniors, I ought to be the one to know better than them. So it fuels my voraciousness for knowledge in the field of fisheries and aquaculture. Anytime I feel like giving up, anytime I feel like maybe I'm tired, I'm stressed out, when I remember that you came here to achieve something, when I remember that I'm in the class with my juniors, when I remember that there's no first class in that department, when I think of a future where my life could be better with this choice of this course, I just move on again. So it's a lot of motivation. I try if I said there were no times where I feel discouraged, then I'm a liar. In fact, the course in itself, many of my mates would want to modernize it then and say that they are studying aquatic engineering or something. They just want to modernize and put engineering there so that it sounds, because like I told you, if you are not a medical doctor, if you are not an engineer, or you are not a lawyer, you are nothing. You have not read anything. So you hear people say, I'm studying aquaculture, aquatic engineering, or there's something they used to they make it fanciful then. But I don't. I study fisheries and aquaculture. I'm studying fisheries and aquaculture. I'm proud of it. I try as much as possible as a scholar then to know not just about the theory. I also focus on the practical as much as possible. There are people that are my mates who are not good with theories, but they are good with practical. I make friends with them. There were people that were my mates who they were making money from the sales of fish, from smoking of fish, practicing what they did. Some of them, their father had fish farms, and they had opportunity to practice. In fact, it was because of the creative nature of the business that their father directed them that they should study fisheries. They don't like it, but they were making money. They were excelling. So I made sure that while I'm the scholar of the class, while I'm getting the good grades, while everybody is saying, this guy is, I also didn't allow that to get to my end. Because in this world, it's not about certificate alone. It's about your competency. I sometimes jokingly call it sabiticates. It's about what you, in our Nigerian language, what you sabi. Because at the end of the day, what I am doing now at the Worldfish is not based on my certificate alone. It's based on my skills. It's based on my competence. It's based on me to be able to now bring down what I've learned into solving real life problems. If everything they tell me, I can, okay, well, this is so and so, maybe Solomon Etar says this. No, it's not about that. It's not about quoting scientific discovery. It's about applying them. So I made sure those who knew more than me as regards to practical, they are my friends. And I was able to balance both theory and practical. And it's one of the things I think helped during this time. So, yes, I was discouraged. Yes, I had to motivate myself. So, they were part of my journey to, will I say to greatness? Let me say where I am today. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's a very wonderful one. And hearing your story, in fact, graduating as the overall best students in the university, and that's a fantastic one as a student of fisheries and aquaculture. And I believe many of us, myself, and in fact, not just our audience, even our members, will be, motivated by your story. So, without further ado, concerning, speaking to your career paths and opportunities, I learned that after graduation and your youth service, I mean the NYSC, you became a lecturer. So can you briefly tell us how did that opportunity come about?
Oh, thank you very much. Um, I just hope I'm not emotional with some of the questions you are asking tonight, because of course sometimes you live life and then you live through life through the process of life, and it's not every time you get opportunity to tell your stories. And sometimes that thing that you are telling a story is actually what you lived. People who probably are they get to hear them, they see it as stories. To you, it's reality. It was once your reality, and then those reality didn't just come by. Um, I may tell a 5 minute story of what happened, but I'm telling you what happened within those 5 minutes. I've scratched it. It's almost like a journey of 5 years, 6 years, put in 5 minutes. So it's a lot of things come to mind as we speak. Yeah, I got into lecturing, which is one of the, we can't put away academic excellence in all of this. We can't. There's a lot academic excellence has to offer. Yes, many people may play down many things. We are. I just said during this course of this interview that yes, it's not about your certificates. It's also about what you know. Yes, a lot of industry are prioritizing skill over degree over certificate, but I want to also tell you that certificate is always the foundation of everything. So everybody must be serious as regards the theoretical aspects of your course of your career. One of the things, there's several things that doors that opened for me with earning a first class degree in fisheries, and one of which is getting an automatic employment, with the Federal University of Agriculture, Makodi, as a graduate assistant. Now, as at the time I finished, I told you that I was the best graduating student in the whole school, in the college, and in the department, of course. So my then HOD, who is also one of my spiritual parents, Dr. now Professor S.D. Solomon, then it was Dr. S.D. Solomon. He also happened to be my project supervisor at that time. In fact, I remember when I finished my project ahead of everyone, he told me, Victor, go and start writing a scientific manuscript from your project because I want you to start learning the rudiments of an academics because I won't let you go. He said that to me. And while I was in school, and I need you to note this, while I was in school as an undergraduate student, I wrote my first paper. In fact, 3 of it from an undergraduate work. I wrote 3 papers. I'm not saying 1. I'm not saying 2. 3 scientific articles from an undergraduate thesis. 3. Now, with the help of God and the help of Professor S.G. Solomon, I got those research published. It didn't just stop there. As at the time I was going for NYSC, I had had as much as 8 publications. Because after those publication, where my undergraduate publication, Professor S.G. Solomon did not stop there. He bombarded me with many of his previous students' project work and asked me to read through and synthesize a paper from them. I would not do justice to this webinar by saying he's the only one who helped. I also work tirelessly with the likes of Dr. Ataguba Gabriel. In fact, he's one of my mentors too. He actually taught me also statistical analysis, then using GenStats, and then now to Minitab and all that we used. Then late Professor Ayuba and the rest. Now, I'm saying, while still doing NYSC, I didn't just have a first class degree. I had about 8 publications to my credit as an undergraduate student that just finished and then is doing NYSC. So that's enough. That portfolio enough, with the fact that I graduated the best student, was easy for Professor S.G. Solomon, who was also then the HOD, to approach the incoming vice chancellor in the name of Professor Kucha, as at then, to employ me as a graduate assistant. The explanation or the justification was simple. This is our best graduate as far as academic excellence is concerned. We can't allow him go any other place. He has to be back. And then the man approved that my appointment letter be given. So while I was still in NYSC, I was called to come and pick up appointment letter. And I came down from Imo State. I came down to Makurdi, and I wanted to go and pick my appointment letter. But they said no, so that it will not be tomorrow. You say we give you a job you did not apply for. So apply for the job. Meaning that they asked me why my appointment letter is ready, but so that there can be documentation that I applied for this job. They didn't just give me on the platter of gold. I sat down and hand wrote my application letter myself, gave to them, and they exchanged the application letter for an appointment letter for me. So that was the journey. And that is not the only thing that first class and publication did for me. As of today, I have a B fisheries and I have a PhD in fisheries. I don't have a master's degree. Many people don't know. Previously, before now, the education system in Nigeria, when it was a bit better than what we have now, if you have a 3rd class, you are most likely not to proceed for masters. Probably you just go for PhD at best. But things are beginning to change. But if you had a 2-2, you'll be asked to proceed for your PGD, that's postgraduate diploma. So the postgraduate diploma is like a remediation of your 2-2 to come to the level of 2-1 before you can do a master's. That was the design. So for you to have a 2-2, you have to go for postgraduate diploma, then you now do for your master's and then your PhD. Then if your degree was 2-1, you can go for your master's straight. But if you have a first class, in those days, you don't do masters because everything you need to do for masters, you already know. That's the mentality then. So you can go straight for your PhD. And it still happens in some schools. It still happens in some universities. I mean, my PhD is not that far. Uh, I think 6-7 years ago, that was 2018, I had my PhD. But I got a direct PhD admission in Malaysia. So in schools in Malaysia still do this very well. Schools in some part of US still do, but schools in Australia and in New Zealand, they still do. In fact, in Nigeria, not up until 2016, 2015, 2016, Footmina they were doing that. And I think I stand to be corrected. Till now, I think UNN, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, still does that. The only thing that in University of Nigeria, Nsukka, if you have a first class and you apply, they will ask you to do coursework with the master student, but your PhD, your thesis now, your research will now be the PhD level. So that's what they do. So people don't know these things. And I think I would probably want to use this opportunity to let them know. These are some of the things you enjoy with academic excellence, with doing this. And I must say that it's not just that. I've mentioned, you followed this webinar, you follow this talk very well. You know, I mentioned that it's not just about having the first class also. I merged my first class also with publication, because that was what gave me an edge, especially while I was applying abroad. I was applying for my PhD in Malaysia. As at the time I was ready to apply, I was an undergraduate or a graduate of fisheries with a first class and with 19 publications at then. Today we have grown. At least, if I count back, I think as at last year, closing last year, my publication should have been as much as 140. So we are still struggling. We are still looking for how to do things better. We are still writing. There's no rest. One thing with academic excellence, one thing with professionalism, one thing with staying on top and staying ahead is the fact that the hunger must continue. The day you become filled to the brain, you are not hungry, then you have almost signed your peak. So if you, no matter where you think you reach or you have gotten to, please pardon my English, no matter where you think you have gotten to, there is, if you are unsatiable with you are dissatisfied with your level, there's always going to be somewhere higher that you have to. And the thing is this: no matter what you think you have achieved, there are people that you always see that will always spur you to do more. While contentment is very good, you also need to be very uncomfortable wherever you are. It's good to celebrate each successes, each level, per time. It's good. As at the time that I got to first class, I could say that, I'm the best student. I want to enjoy the moment, and then start writing books about challenging of first class and doing this and doing that. No, but I asked myself, I said, what next? Victor, now you have at undergrad, at this level of undergraduate, at the level of students, what qualifies you as a good student was a high CGPA, was a good, scores, able to defend whatever you are asked. You're able to practically even do some of these things, not just about having things in your brain. Now you have left that realm. You are now in postgraduate. You are now into lecturing. What defines a good lecturer? Publications, patents, research grants. So these are the things. So how do I do it? You begin to move close to those who know how to do it better than you. You learn from them. I learned a lot of things from people that are above me, from people that are on my level, from people that are below me. I remember while I went for my PhD then in Malaysia, I remember many of the things I went there, we were heavy in theory and low in practical. So many things that I did there, I had to learn from undergraduate students. I had to learn from MSc students. In fact, thankfully, I didn't have MSc. So I was able to tell them, I don't know anything. We are mates. I'm just opportune to, be doing PhD. But you are my mates. The same MSc you are doing, it's almost at the same level. And in Malaysia, it's sometimes very tough. Most of the people, almost the high percentage of those in their universities and in their institution are ladies, and then they are more Islamic. So it's really difficult to penetrate or to interact with them. But you find a way because of the knowledge you want to get. You find a way to mend bridges, be a good guy, be there. It's not about you taking, be there when they need them. And one way to do this, you assist them to do their own lab work. That's how you learn. Somebody wants to do something on genetics. You are coming from Nigeria, you don't know anything. And then you are now saying you are a PhD student. When an undergraduate student is already extracting DNA, running PCR, and then sequencing gene, you are there. You are forming title that you are a PhD student. No, you get your hand dirty. You schedule appointment to them. When do you want to extract DNA? Do you mind if I join you? And sometimes it could be odd hours. Cameras is everywhere. So you follow them. Do you mind if I get you something from the cafeteria, so that you can eat, Do you mind? Let me just see the results. When you're analyzing, can you teach me? And because supervisors, we don't have time for you. They have many other people that they are going to deal with. So it was a very, very easy journey, so to say, because of the foundation that I had, which is on the academic excellence. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much for that. And I must say that's so beautiful. Yeah. So with what your successes, records in academia, and now working with Worldfish, may I know what motivated the transition?
My motivation, of course, is bent on the fact that I've been into academics for close to I think about 10 years, because I started academics as a graduate assistant in 2013, and I got the opportunity at the Worldfish in 2024. So that was about 11 years into academics. So I have seen the teaching aspects, the research aspects. But one thing we don't do in academics is more of developmental work. So when this opportunity presents itself for development, meaning that it's not about you just doing research. Your research should lead into solution. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You should be able to transmit your research into solving human problems, into solving societal problems, which is what the NGOs, which is what Worldfish does. We don't just leave our researches on the shelf. There are many things we have done in the laboratories that the farmer needs, that's still sitting down in the shelf of many professors. There are many things that many persons are trying to research now, that the solutions are already being found, but it's just lying fallow, sitting down in somebody's shelf. Worldfish, NGOs like CG centers, IITA, Worldfish, ILRI, they translate this research into solutions, into developmental solutions, into the needs. They get money from donor and say, we can use this technology to better productivity, measurable productivities, which is one thing I love about it. It's not about you just saying you have done a research. It's about now seeing how your research is going to touch the lives of people. So that transition, it was encouraging for my transition, because we've over the past 11 years been in academics, we've done a lot of multiple research in aquaculture systems, in aquaculture breeding and genetics. In fact, I'm a trained breeding and geneticist. In other aspects. But then, like I said, we end up saying, okay, this is the best way we can do it. We don't have that link directly, or we don't have that mandate. Well, maybe we have, but we are not exploiting the aspect of our mandate to translate this research into development. So, Worldfish gives that opportunity. So I find myself in a place, or find myself having the opportunity to now say, my innovations, my scientific discoveries, I can get money to pilot them. Not just saying this is what we can do in the lab. We can now take it to the farmer and say, do it this way on a large scale, on a commercial base. And this is the output you get. You can easily quantify that with this new technology you are doing, you are using, rather, you are able to have a 20% increase in your productivity. You are able to increase your socioeconomic, life by 10%. You are able to raise 15% of the population out of poverty. So these are indices, developmental indices, that we couldn't measure as at the time in academia. And this is one of those things that that fuel my my movement. And needless to say, the fact that I was prepared, anxiously seeking for such opportunities. I remember 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the line before getting Worldfish job, I decided, okay, I haven't been in academics for this long. What next can I do? So I started seeing opportunities in Worldfish, opportunities in FAO, opportunity in IFAD. These are developmental, these are NGOs, these are what's it called, UN based organization that have fisheries and aquaculture in it. So I go to their vacancy pages, I refresh them weekly, look at vacancies that fits my qualification, fits my portfolio, and I apply for it. And I saw this, it was on aquaculture system. Although I was a trained breeder and geneticist, I have done a lot of work personally and with my colleagues on aquaculture system. So it was easy for me to make an application there. And the role that I am doing now is I come to realize that my multidisciplinary or multidimensional research is coming handy, because at this role I have to do many things, not just on aquaculture system. I have to also, review things that has to do with genetics. I have to review things that has to do with feed, and I have all those research experience. So those things prepared me for this. But I seek for this opportunity to contribute a little bit, not just about research, but also to development. And that's why I switched from academics to development. But also, it's important for me to also say that I'm currently on leave of absence. From the university to this place. But of course, I'm hoping to stay here much more longer.
All right, that's a beautiful one. And in fact, I thought to me you've exhausted the next question on my list here, because I wanted to ask what you do at Worldfish and how that impacts communities and food security. But you've spoken on that, but maybe briefly you can say one or two things in addition to what you said about Worldfish.
Yeah, Worldfish is a CG center. We have a global mandate for aquatic food. So when it comes to anything aquatic food, fisheries, aquaculture, colors, we've done a lot of things as regards to, improving aquaculture fisheries in Nigeria, in Africa, and around the world. Of course, I imagine, for the sake of those who don't know, The headquarters of Worldfish is in Malaysia, and then our director, global director, is Dr. Elsam. Fantastic man. We don't really, people make this mistake. They feel that Worldfish can give them money to do research. No, Worldfish is an NGO. We seek money, we seek funding from donor agencies, and then we execute projects. So it means that we got beautiful ideas, we got solutions to aquaculture problems. We seek people whose mandate is to support the development of fisheries and aquaculture. Whose mandate, for instance, the World Bank, Africa Developmental Bank, a lot of other donor agencies, Bill Gates, IFAD, the list is endless. They support Rwanda government, Netherlands government, even Nigerian government in some way, and then the government of different nations. They, give funding to develop fisheries and aquaculture in their countries and around the world. Of course, aquaculture is today the fastest growing food production sector in the whole world. Fastest growing. You can see that it's a huge field. And not just talking about that, one of the recent reports by, I think, the World Bank is saying that there are trillions of dollars in aquaculture investment that has not even been tapped into. Meaning there is so much opportunity as regards to employment, aquaculture being the means for employment, economic growth, and importantly, inclusion for women and for youth. So aquaculture is easy to give decent jobs, which is why Worldfish is championing the mandate of improving aquaculture performance, improving aquaculture productivity across the globe. Last year, Worldfish was 50 years old, and then it's so privileged. How do I put it now? It's so humbling, and I feel very privileged to be part of this very important and very unique NGO that's working on aquatic food as it is. So our mandate is not just on freshwater. Our mandate is both freshwater and marine. In fact, the current project that I am on is trying to pilot what is known as integrated multi-trophic aquaculture system. And when you talk about integrated multi-trophic aquaculture system, we're talking about producing different aquaculture species at different trophic level. Meaning that if you have a system that is mimicking the natural environment, where you have your primary producer, the secondary consumer, and then the primary consumer, just like that. So if you feed your fish, you expect them to give out excrement, pass out urine and all that. Those things, if you allow them, they enrich the water system, which you can see a lot of biological indicators around showing that our water, our rivers, and our seas, they are getting too much nutrients in them. So if you integrate other species that can take out this waste, if you integrate other species that can remove this waste as their food, what you are doing is, quote unquote, under the concept of integrated aquaculture system. So that's what we do at Worldfish. That's what I do at Worldfish. And it's been a very interesting place to work. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful, and thanks for that explanation. So, without further ado, the next question on my list here is maybe in simple terms. Yeah, you've spoken a lot on some of these was because of our audience. So, in simple terms, how do fisheries and aquaculture help feed the today world? And you can maybe to add to that, how is also the sector is also becoming more important as the world population grows.
Oh, thank you very much. Like I mentioned, probably one of the things I mentioned previously was the fact that aquaculture's growth, in terms of comparing it vis-a-vis other food sector, is currently the highest. It's expanding. It's expanding, and one of the things that is making the expansion um, more is the fact that the cost of raising some of the species, for instance, if you look at the low trophic species like tilapia, the cost of raising them is not much. So you are seeing people increasingly interested in going to fish farming because you do not much. And I don't want you to quote me out of context. Of course, there is a lot of things that needs to be done. Agriculture is still in many ways capital intensive. But then when you compare it compared to other aspects of agriculture, there is a lot to be done, and it has a lot. It's uniquely placed in the fight against food security, food insecurity around the world, around the globe. In fact, the UN is giving a lot of attention to aquaculture. Many fields are giving a lot of attention. Recently, I think sometime last year, I attended a workshop which I facilitated in Ghana, and then it was organized by the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA). We are looking at how to integrate nuclear energy into food production, into aquaculture production, into increasing it. And there's a lot that is going on. If we continue the way the population is moving, we need to double on. We need to double up the production of aquaculture species. We need to generate more food for the masses. And the when you look at it in terms of population, Asia is one of the most populous continents in the world, where because of China and India, and these people are doing a lot. When you look at the next continent that meets that, fits that, you may be looking at Africa. Unfortunately, we are not doing much. If you compare the productivity of Asia to Africa, in fact, the whole of Africa, I'm not sure. Uh, by statistics, I stand to be corrected. I think as at last year, I don't think we are producing up to 1% of what the world is producing. So if we are not producing up to 1%, what's Nigeria producing? So, but there's a lot of opportunity. You and I look at it from the point of view of in Nigeria alone, we are talking about everything we talk about is catfish, 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 which is one of the things we are trying to change in the Worldfish, the narrative. They're trying to see if we can diversify aquaculture species. There's a lot of things going on in the West, Ibadan, Lagos. Many people are bringing in alien species. There's a lot of things with pangasius. People are looking for how to produce fish more. So the sector is having a lot of huge potentials, huge, very huge potential, which I believe the youth should take advantage of. Aquaculture scientists should take advantage of this opportunity. It's not a time to be looking for white collar jobs. It's a time to start practicalizing everything that you have been taught. You see, it may sound like statistics, but you know that Nigeria does not currently produce everything that it needs as far as domestic consumption is concerned. So let's not even talk about food security of the world. Let's talk about food security in Nigeria. Are we fish secured? No. statistics of the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, if my memory serves me right, shows that we spend almost about $1.2 billion on fish importation alone. That's huge. That's pushing out employment to another country. If only that fishery scientists in Nigeria can take opportunity of, let's say, $500 million. Do you know the ripple effect of that? Meaning that your family members, your friends, people that are connected to you, they will also get the ripple effect of taking advantage of production expansion in that. So, and there's a lot of things. People will talk about the fact that they don't want to, they don't know how to start, they don't have money. Hey, the opportunities people can, which is one of the things I'm trying to do on my LinkedIn, on my social media, tell people that it's easy. It's a bit, if it may be, if I say it's easy, it may be, it may look too easy. It's not like it's easy, but there are opportunities, let me say that, for young people to get funding from donor agencies. If you have a good idea, there are avenues where you can exploit and then get those opportunities, especially when it comes to agribusiness, especially when it comes to fisheries and aquaculture. The opportunities you can explore and get those things funded and contribute. So we are rightly positioned. It's a good time to be a professional in fisheries and aquaculture. And if you take this thing serious, I think there's a lot we can gain from it. And we have a lot of things to do as regards food security.
Thanks so much for that brilliant answer. That's so fantastic. Moving forward, so many students only know fish as food. And what would you like them to know about fisheries and aquaculture as a career?
Okay, so fisheries and aquaculture as a career, it all depends on how you perceive it. You see, when you look at it from the point of view of you going to school and study fishing, I think it's one of the things that make most of our people are, ashamed back then when they say you're studying fishing. They say, no, I'm studying aquaculture technology or aquatic engineering or something like that. It's nothing to be afraid of. There are a lot of career paths when it comes to fishery and aquaculture. Personally, I'm a testimony of the fact that you can be, what you want to be if you put in your heart to the course that you're ready, especially when it comes to fisheries and aquaculture. So there are opportunities in terms of career paths. There are opportunities to work with NGOs. There are opportunities to also work with, probably start from my own personal experience. Currently, I'm working with an NGO, which is Worldfish, a global international NGO, Worldfish. And before then, I was also a lecturer, meaning that you can as well be a lecturer. It's a career path, which is good. Then we have ministries of agriculture scattered around the whole world, in federal, in states, and local governments. These are places you can as well work. But the greatest career path is being self-employed, and I can't say this. I can't say this often and not, because if we are talking about fisheries and aquaculture taking its place, if we are talking about feeding the nation, if we are talking about increasing productivity in Nigeria, then we have to get more professionals to do the dirty job. We have to get people interested to go back to farms, to start, production. So it's not just about food. It's about business. It's about mentorship, rather. It's about doing your part. So there's a lot of areas you can cover as regards to fishery and aquaculture. And I think for the sake of those who don't know, we are just, when we talk about aquaculture, when we talk about fisheries, most people just think about fin fish. It's not about that alone. Fisheries, aquaculture cover a lot of things. talks about shellfish, it talks about seaweeds, aquatic plants. These are on their own multi-billion dollar industries. The seaweed industry is a, I wish, but unfortunately, we are not taking advantage. Not even in as individuals, even as a country. It's painful. It's painful. The whole of the Atlantic Ocean, we have over 841 kilometers of coastal, you know, our coastline. 841 kilometers, if my memory serves me right. That's a huge resource, huge opportunity, line waste. There's a lot we can do. I don't think you can mention to me one species of marine that's currently being cultured in Nigeria. That's a huge opportunity. And there's a lot of research in that end. There's a lot of things that is going on. So one person can take on and say that I want to decide now. I want to, make myself different. Uh, I want to stand out and decide that everything is going to be produced will be shrimps. There's a huge market for shrimps. And we have indigenous shrimps whose sister or whose siblings, when I mean siblings, I'm saying in the same family, which they have successfully been cultured in other places. We can copy, we can use the same formula to probably, produce our own indigenous species. So there's a lot that can be said as regards to career paths, not just looking at fish as food, both in Nigeria and the world at large.
Thank you so much for that. And in fact, for me, I'm highly motivated, and I believe same thing will be applicable to our audience. Trying to see where to carve a niche for ourselves in this industry, in this sector. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, so we are gradually moving on to the end of this session. So I will just say, what advice will you give to students who didn't get their first choice of course? We have quite a number of them in the university who found themselves in fisheries and aquaculture, by placement directly by the university. So what can you, word of advice, or what will you have to say to such students?
Yeah, I would say you are sitting on a gold mine and you don't know it. You are sitting on a huge treasure and you don't realize it. You are having the best opportunity of your life and you are not making use of it. So my advice is this: if you are in 200 level, it's not too late. If you are in 500 level, it's not even too late. You see, the thing is this: it's good to have good grades, but one of the things that you do for yourself best is to learn the skills. So even if you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to this recording, and you find yourself motivated and you think, "Oh, I'm too late," no, 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 you're not. Get the best out of the system where you are now. For me, I chose fisheries first and second choice. It may not be your story, but every time you decide to wake up, that time your money has set. The money is not. Some people can wake up 12 midnight and they are not sleeping again to the next day. Their money have set. So it depends on when you decide to wake up. I want you to wake up as regards to your dealings, as regards to the opportunities in fisheries and aquaculture. You are in the right place. I can tell you for free that you are in the right place. There's a lot of opportunity. It doesn't matter that at this time it looks like we are not doing best for it. A generation is rising. We are having new crop of fishery scientists that are changing the narratives. There are opportunities that are open to you now that our lecturers, those that have gotten ahead of us, they don't have that opportunity. So it's the best time to study the course. If anything would make you happy, the fact that we have, as a nation, we have left the under, the fisheries and aquaculture sector was under the Ministry of Agric before. Now we have a whole ministry to ourselves. They call it the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. That shows you that even the country, Nigeria, is taking the issue of your course, taking it seriously. We don't. Minister of Agric, under Minister of Agric is where I think animal science is still. Under Minister of Agric, crop production is. Under Minister of many things. But we have Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. It shows you how important this ministry or this sector is. So don't be discouraged. If you have not been serious with your academics, it's the time to take it serious. It's the time to start, pulling those stunts, those academic stunts you have that you have not been pulling. It's the time to start having the best CGPAs. It's the time to start working your heart out on the farms, learning all the skills that you need to learn. Because you never can tell. It could be that thing that will distinguish you from this for the next interview that you're going to have. It could be that thing that would, separate you in the midst of every other person. So I will encourage you. For those who are in year one, you're even the best place to start. For those who probably are in secondary schools and you're looking at this, this is the place to be. You don't have to think it twice. Just like I chose his first choice and second choice. Choose it first choice and second choice. Pour your heart to it. Learn all you can. And who knows, maybe 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years down the line, fish lab or fish lead will probably call you for an interview.
Yeah.
Fish leader will probably call you for an interview to also share your story, just the way I am sharing mine now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a brilliant one. So as we'll be rounding up, you in the course of the conversation, you've spoken about aquaculture and fisheries in Africa and then also in Nigeria, the potential, the large and the long coastline that we have, and the situation of things, the production gap and all of that. So do you believe that young people can actually shape the future of fisheries and aquaculture in Nigeria and then in Africa?
Yeah. The truth of the matter is, anywhere you go and you don't see young people, then that space or that place is about to die. One of the hopes that we have in Nigeria is because the youthful population is much. There are cities in Europe. There are some villages. There are some places in, I think, if Germany, if my memory serves me right, or Spain, that they know in the next 10 years, those places will be shut down. In fact, there was another place that I think they were ready to even pay you to go and stay there because the people that are there are old. So the future of any field, if it must move forward, if a field is to survive, that field must be in the hands of young men. And it is why I'm making this passionate call. That if you are hearing this now, if you are thinking of doing something unique for yourself, you're in secondary school, you're in primary school, you're in the university, it's not too late to change from biochemistry and come to fisheries. We will receive you. It's not too late. I don't want to throw shades at some courses. Why would you go and study biochemistry? Just fisheries is one course that, except you just want to look for a job, even before you graduate, you started doing something for yourself. I started making money. I told you a story about those who were making money while still in school that I had to learn practically from. So the future of fisheries and aquaculture is in the hands of the next generation. It's not in the hands of professors. It's not in the hands of emeritus, those retired directors, or no. It's in our hands. We have to shape with everything that we got, with the world of rapidly changing things. If we don't innovate, find a way to bring AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, name it, all the technologies that are currently being deployed, if we don't find a way to bring them into our field, it becomes a field that we'll forget in a few years' time. And every other field is rapidly changing. They are incorporating these things. Ours cannot be different. And guess what? It's difficult for our old people to learn them. Is it my professor now that you want to tell to come and start learning coding? Or learn how to do even statistical analysis with R myself? The people that know how to use what's it called? How do I put it? GenStars, Minitab, all those SPSS and all that. They are still struggling with it. Now you are saying we should come and use R, MATLAB, all those things. It's not easy. They have their place. Don't quote me wrong. We are not saying there's a place for experience as regards to this, but beyond, we'll always respect the generation ahead of us for how they have prepared, the ground for us, for the experiences they've gained on this field, for many things they've done. But then, the way population is increasing, the way the demand for fish is increasing, it needs for us to innovate in the way we do things. And that innovation has to come through the hands of young people like you and I. So please, there's a space. Even if you're a computer engineer, there's a space for you in fisheries. There's a lot of things we need to do. You're an artificial intelligence enthusiast, or how did they put it? Enthusiast. Come, there's a way we can find a way to incorporate this into fisheries and aquaculture. People should not. You should be here, and we just an app on your phone be operating a farm that is 1 kilometer, 3 kilometers away. You don't need to go and tell somebody to feed. Just press a button and it incorporates something, and then feed starts. You monitor them massive. You can easily measure their growth, even just by using an algorithm that can quantify, the length and breadth of a fish. So there's a lot. Fisheries and aquaculture is not done the crude way. There are innovations that are coming there, which makes it much more appealing to young people. So the future of this field is in the hands of youth. And if youth don't come in, then we have no future.
Oh, all right. In fact, that's a fantastic one. Thanks so much for. I see that as a very huge word of encouragement for young people in this field, and then those who are, about coming into the field. I so much appreciate that. Yeah. So maybe that's a whole lot, and I truly appreciate the engaging conversation with you tonight. Your experiences, perspectives, I believe they will go a long way. But for me, having having a first-hand experience is a great opportunity, and has
Thank you very
motivated me
much.
a lot. And I know same thing applicable to our audience, that will be viewing us, anytime, as we put these recordings during our outreaches and as well as on our channels. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.